We were undiscovered, didn't care for one another, you and I. Thought I was okay till something.
Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing a question that I often get when people want to get into photography and filmmaking, and that is, what camera should I buy? And if I'm honest, I often tell these people, don't even buy a camera, just use the tool in your pocket. You see, most people have an iPhone in their pocket that costs close to $1,000, which is great for shooting photo and video. They just don't know it yet. And not only can an iPhone take great photos and video, but as well you can process the photos and make videos right on your phone. You don't even need to jump on a computer to edit them. So instead of spending thousands of dollars on a camera, on batteries, memory cards, a lens, a card reader, a laptop, the editing programs, I would suggest just sticking with something like a mobile phone, like an iPhone. Instead of worrying about buying all that gear, use your time and money to invest into your learning. So learning the basics of photography and filmmaking, like lighting and composition, and focusing on these things rather than being worried about getting the most high quality camera. Because the truth is, most of the time when people buy a DSLR or mirrorless camera, they just get so overwhelmed that in the end, their camera just ends up on one of those shelves collecting dust. I know for myself, that's what happened. I remember getting the Canon Rebel XTI or something like that, and I bought it. I was excited taking a few photos, but it was just so overwhelming figuring out all the settings and the buttons that I just didn't get that into photography because of it, and it ended up just sitting on my shelf. So instead of asking the question, what kind of camera should I buy, just use the tool that's already in your pocket, and instead of worrying about all the gear, focus on just going out and shooting. Because going out with an iPhone or any mobile phone, it's just a lot of fun. You don't have to carry around all this gear, and you can just snap away taking all the photos and video you want, and then you can just practice editing and getting better and better at training your eye. So what do I actually think about the iPhone 12 Pro when it comes to photo and video? For myself, coming from a background of being a professional photographer and filmmaker for many years, the truth is often when I pick up an iPhone, at first I'm a little bit disappointed. You know, I go out, I take some photos, and I'm like, this is just not looking right. The depth of field is looking a little bit unnatural. It's maybe a little bit too sharp. The photo is very HDR-ish looking. But then, when you actually go and start editing the photo, that's where everything changes. So I take the photo, and often what I do is I put the sharpen down as much as possible because I've noticed that iPhones sharpen way too much. I even take the clarity a little bit down. And then I adjust the depth of field. I don't know if you guys knew, but you can actually change the f-stop on the photo that you've taken because of the software that the iPhone is using. So whereas when you're shooting with the mirrorless camera, if you're shooting at 1.8, the photo is going to have 1.8 depth of field. But with the iPhone, you can actually adjust the depth of field in post. So in order to go from this weird looking photo, I often take down the sharpening, take the clarity a little bit down, and then I adjust the f-stop in order to get a natural looking depth of field for the photo. And then from there, I often apply some of my Lightroom mobile presets already ready, and I already have a great look for my photo. Just look at this before and after. So we have the before photo where the photo, it's just looking way too sharp, a little bit unnatural, doesn't have nice colors to it. But then when you start editing and you start working through it, you realize that there's actually a whole bunch of detail and mobility to get a nice looking grade for your photos. So when it comes to photography and starting out, I think the quality and the capabilities of the iPhone 12 Pro is more than enough, especially when it comes to just posting photos on Instagram or on the web. If you're gonna print photos, that's a whole different story, but I'm assuming that if you're starting on photography, you're probably not printing too many photos. So I think the iPhone 12 Pro is an amazing tool to get started with photography. You can really spend your time just learning how to use light, learning composition, and worrying about those things rather than worrying about all the buttons and the settings that a mirrorless camera might have. Okay, on to the video side of the iPhone 12 Pro. Now, when I got my hands on the iPhone 12 Pro, I was a little bit disappointed in the beginning because of the fact that I thought that LiDAR was going to enable having a really good shallow depth of field in the videos, because that's one thing that I've always a little bit upset with the iPhone 12 Pro, because it doesn't have that nice shallow depth of field for video as when you're shooting with a mirrorless camera and shooting at 1.4 or 1.8. You get that really nice depth of field, but with the video side, you don't really get that on iPhone 12 Pro. So I was a little bit disappointed, because when I heard about the whole LiDAR feature, I thought that yes, now Apple is going to release a nice shallow depth of field for the video, like in portrait mode for photos, but it hasn't come yet, but hopefully it will come soon. But when I started shooting with the iPhone 12 Pro, my disappointment did start fading a little bit away, because the footage that you can get with a mobile phone that's in your pocket is just ridiculous. First off, stabilization. Long gone are the days of shaky camera footage. When you're filming with the iPhone 12 Pro, the stabilization was great. You don't need a gimbal. You can just walk and take really nice stable shots, which is insane, because back in the day, you would have to have some huge gimbal with all these weights and all this gear in order to get a nice stable shot. But with the iPhone 12 Pro, it just is really good, the stabilization. Second thing, quality. Especially when you're taking wide shots on the iPhone 12 Pro, if you're doing the wide or the ultra wide, you almost can't even tell that it's shot on an iPhone. I bet you if I put a wide shot from the iPhone and then an R5 DSLR shot wide, you probably wouldn't notice too much difference. It looks really, really good. Not to mention the dynamic range, because you have the software on an Apple iPhone that it can take multiple exposures and combine them together to kind of get this HDR look to the video. So, if I'm taking a shot of someone, not only is it going to be the person exposed, but as well the sky can be exposed, which is crazy, because if you're shooting with a mirrorless camera and you expose for the skin, most likely if it's backlit, it's going to be very overexposed backwards. So you're going to get just white sky. But with an iPhone, you actually get a lot of detail in the video shots. Talking about downsides of the iPhone 12 Pro video, you really notice it when you're filming really close up, for example, someone's face. It's a little bit muddy or kind of just this digital look. And as well, like I said before, you don't have that nice shallow depth of field that you would have if you're shooting with a mirrorless camera. So it's not perfect yet when it comes to the video side, but it definitely has gone really far. And I think for a lot of people who don't want to be professional filmmakers, but they want to just use some sort of tool to film video, I think an iPhone 12 Pro is great. You can film really great vlogs, you can do interviews, you can do little nice encouragement videos with your Apple iPhone. Yeah, I think the iPhone is a great tool for someone starting out and just wanting to learn how to film video. Again, like I said with the photo side, with video, you don't have to be worrying about all the different settings and shutter speeds and apertures and all stuff. Instead, you can just focus on using light well, composition, having nice motion to your shots. These are things that you can practice instead with an iPhone. So if you are the type of person that you're interested in getting into photography or videography and you want to start learning, instead of buying all the gear or limiting yourself, because I think there's a lot of people out there who say, I just can't go shoot photos or I can't shoot video because I don't have the right gear. Instead of limiting yourself, I would highly recommend taking your iPhone and using that as your entry-level camera. Don't limit yourself because of the gear that you don't have. Instead, recognize what tools you do have and what you can use and do with them. Now, if you have the iPhone 11 already, should you upgrade to the iPhone 12 Pro? As great as the iPhone 12 Pro is, I probably wouldn't upgrade to the iPhone 12 Pro. For example, I have the iPhone 11 and I most likely will not upgrade yet to the iPhone 12 Pro. It's a great iPhone, it's a great mobile camera, but the jump from iPhone 11 to iPhone 12 Pro wasn't that much. I still have the ultra wide lens in the iPhone 11, I have portrait mode, so I have pretty much everything that I need. But if you have a much older iPhone, like an iPhone 5, 6, 7, 8, then yes, I would highly suggest getting the iPhone 12 if you are in a situation where you're looking to upgrade your iPhone. Now, like always, don't go buy the iPhone 12 Pro if you don't have the money yet for it, because I would not want to support someone getting a whole lot of credit card debt. So yeah, those are my thoughts when it comes to what is the best camera to use when you want to get an entry-level camera starting out in photography or filmmaking. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this week's episode. And hey, if you're new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a thing, but it means a lot to me as a YouTube content creator to have you guys a part of the ride. And for all of you guys who have been a part of this community for a longer time, I just want to say thank you so much. Really appreciate you guys having you part of this channel. All right, that's it for this week's video. Whoops, I actually forgot to mention this episode's sponsor. Now, this episode's sponsor is, surprise, surprise, Skillshare. And if you haven't heard what Skillshare is yet, I don't know where or what planet you're living on, because Skillshare is an amazing service with thousands of classes, and you can pretty much learn about anything and everything on that platform. And I'm actually personally an instructor there myself. I have 2 courses right now, one on wedding photography and the other on how to vlog and grow a YouTube channel. So if you guys are interested in checking out those classes, there's a link in my description that you're gonna get the free Skillshare premium trial version. And if you wanna continue, it's only gonna be less than $10 a month after that. So if you find that you really enjoy Skillshare service, it's not gonna cost you too much to invest in your learning. All right, guys, have a fantastic week.